Imagine a narrow mountain pass, a tiny strip of land standing between freedom and tyranny. In 480 BC, a small band of warriors, led by the fearless King Leonidas of Sparta, faced an army so vast it seemed unstoppable. This is the true story of the 300 Spartans and the Battle of Thermopylae, a clash of courage and sacrifice that echoes through history. Their stand against the mighty Persian Empire is more than just a battle. It's a testament to the power of determination against impossible odds. Let's dive into this incredible tale of bravery, strategy, and honor that shaped the course of the ancient world. The Battle of Thermopylae was a defining moment in the Greco-Persian Wars, a series of conflicts between the powerful Persian Empire and the independent Greek city-states. The Persian king, Xerxes, had one goal: to conquer Europe and force the Greek cities under his rule. To achieve this, he gathered an enormous army, a force so large that it struck fear into the hearts of many. Modern historians estimate that Xerxes' army numbered between 80,000 and 250,000 soldiers, drawn from various nations under his control. Ancient accounts, like those of the Greek historian Herodotus, claimed the army was as large as 5 million, but we know that was an exaggeration meant to highlight the overwhelming odds the Greeks faced. In 481 BC, a year before the battle, Xerxes sent messengers to many Greek city-states with a chilling demand: give earth and water as a symbol of submission to his rule. Most cities were intimidated, but not Athens and Sparta. These two powerhouses had a history of defiance. 10 years earlier, when a Persian envoy made a similar demand in Athens, he was executed. In Sparta, the envoy was thrown into a well with a sarcastic message to find his earth and water there. Xerxes knew better than to waste his time asking them again. He was ready for war. That same year, the Greek city-states came together in a rare moment of unity. At a meeting in Corinth, they formed an alliance, agreeing to set aside their internal disputes to face the Persian threat as one. They knew they couldn't stand alone against such a massive enemy. Messengers were sent to Greek colonies far and wide, pleading for help, but the response was disappointing. Many were too far away or unwilling to join the fight. Still, the Greeks prepared for the inevitable. By 480 BC, Xerxes was on the move. His determination was clear, and his strategy was bold. To transport his massive army from Asia to Europe, he ordered the construction of 2 floating bridges across the Hellespont, a narrow strait now known as the Dardanelles. This engineering feat was a marvel, but it also sent a clear message: nothing would stop him. When news of this reached Athens, a brilliant strategist named Themistocles proposed a daring plan. The Greeks would confront Xerxes at Thermopylae, a narrow pass in central Greece. This tight corridor was the only land route into southern Greece, the region Xerxes desperately wanted to control. By holding this pass, the Greeks could neutralize the Persians' numerical advantage. The narrow space meant only a small number of soldiers could fight at a time, no matter how large the enemy army was. To protect their position at Thermopylae, the Greeks also needed to control the nearby sea. Athenian and allied ships were sent to guard the strait between the island of Euboea and the Greek mainland. Around the same time as the land battle at Thermopylae, a crucial naval clash would take place in this area, ensuring the Persians couldn't bypass the pass by sea. By mid-August of 480 BC, the Persian army reached the Malian Gulf, just at the entrance to Thermopylae. Xerxes, confident in his overwhelming numbers, sent an envoy to the Greek forces with an offer: surrender, and they would be granted freedom and the title of Friends of the Persians. Leading the Greek forces was King Leonidas of Sparta, a man known for his unyielding resolve. He rejected the offer outright. When the envoy demanded the Greeks lay down their weapons, Leonidas delivered a response that would echo through the ages, molon labe, meaning come and take them. This defiant stand became a symbol of resistance. The Thermopylae pass was incredibly narrow, only about 60 paces wide at its tightest point. The Greeks built a low wall of heavy stones to fortify their position and camped behind it, completely blocking the pass. Leonidas commanded an army of around 7,000 hoplites, heavily armed foot soldiers, and 2,000 archers. Some modern estimates suggest the total Greek force might have been as high as 20,000, though still vastly outnumbered by the Persians. Among Leonidas' troops, one group stood out, his personal guard of 300 Spartans. This elite unit was legendary. The number was always kept at 300. If one warrior fell, another took his place. Spartans were famous across Greece for their bravery and discipline. Their motto was simple, yet powerful. Together we shall conquer, or together we shall die. Leonidas himself was over 40 years old at the time, though his exact age is uncertain. Some believed he was a descendant of the mythical hero Heracles in the 20th generation. Before heading to Thermopylae, he carefully chose his 300 warriors from among Spartan citizens who already had sons, ensuring their family lines would continue even if they didn't return. The rest of the Spartan army was ordered to join later, after their sacred festivals concluded. Interestingly, even the looming Persian invasion couldn't make the Spartans abandon their traditions. At the time, they were celebrating the Carnea, a 9-day festival honoring Apollo. When Spartan elders urged Leonidas to take more than 300 men, he refused. His decision was firm, rooted in both strategy and honor. When Xerxes arrived at Thermopylae, he waited 4 days, perhaps expecting the Greeks to surrender or flee. On the 5th day, growing impatient, he launched his attack. He sent in his most battle-hardened troops, including Medes and Persians. According to the historian Diodorus, the vanguard included warriors whose relatives had died at the Battle of Marathon 10 years earlier, a Greek victory that still stunned the Persians. Their first assault was direct and brutal, relying on sheer numbers to overwhelm the Greeks. But the Greeks held their ground. Their strategy was clever. They would pretend to retreat, luring the Persians into a disorganized chase, then suddenly turn and counterattack. This tactic worked brilliantly. The Persians, despite their size, couldn't break through. The narrow pass created a unique situation. The largest army in the world at the time was stalled by a small group of determined Greeks. Xerxes sent wave after wave of troops, including the Scythians and Sakai, known for their ferocity. But they too failed. These soldiers were lightly armed and lacked the tight formations of the Greek hoplites, who fought shoulder to shoulder behind massive shields in a formation called the phalanx. As the first day ended, Xerxes even deployed his elite guard, the 10,000-strong Immortals, though of course they were mortal. Even they couldn't break the Greek line and retreated after a short clash. The 300 Spartans fought tirelessly through this day, and according to the historian Ctesias, their losses were minimal, with only 3 men killed. On the second day, Xerxes tried again. He promised huge rewards, likely in gold and treasure, equivalent to thousands of dollars today, for any soldier who broke through, and death for those who fled. But the attacks were just as fruitless. Wave after wave of Persian troops crashed against the Greek defenses, with no success. Xerxes rotated his forces, hoping fresh soldiers would make a difference, but nothing worked. Frustrated, he returned to his camp, unsure of what to do next. That same day, everything changed. A Greek named Ephialtes approached Xerxes with a treacherous offer. For a generous reward, likely a sum worth tens of thousands of dollars in today's money, he revealed a hidden mountain path that could bypass the Thermopylae pass. Ephialtes' motives remain unclear. Some say he acted out of greed, others out of spite. Whatever his reasons, his name became synonymous with betrayal. In later years, the Greeks even named a demon of nightmares after him. The secret path was guarded by about 1,000 Phocian soldiers from central Greece. Under cover of night, an elite Persian detachment of 20,000 men, led by a commander named Hydarnes, moved silently along the path. At dawn, they attacked the unsuspecting Phocians, driving them to a mountain summit. Hydarnes pressed on, circling to the rear of the main Greek position at Thermopylae. The Phocians sent messengers to warn Leonidas, but he already knew. A Persian deserter named Tirastiadas had informed him during the night. By this point, Leonidas had about 5,000 warriors left. The news of Persians approaching from behind made their wall defense useless. To save as many of his men as possible, Leonidas ordered most of the Greek forces to retreat south and join other allied troops. Around 2,000 warriors left. But Leonidas and his 300 Spartans stayed. Spartan law forbade a retreat under any circumstances. Alongside them, about 2,000 soldiers from Thespiae and Thebes, led by commanders Demophilus and Leontiades, also refused to leave. They chose to stand and fight, knowing the end was near. As the Persians, guided by Ephialtes, closed in from the rear, the Greeks abandoned their barricade and moved to a hill at the pass's exit. They no longer hoped to win. They only wanted to die with honor. The final stand took place where the pass widened slightly, but even there, the Persians couldn't fully spread out. Many of their own soldiers died in the chaos, crushed by their comrades or falling from cliffs. Herodotus tells us that among the Spartans, warriors like Alpheus and Dynes showed incredible bravery. A Thespian named Dithyrambus was also remembered for his courage. In the end, almost none survived. Leonidas fell in battle, and the Persians lost notable figures too, including two of Xerxes' brothers, Abracones and Hyperanthes. After the battle, Xerxes inspected the battlefield himself. When he found Leonidas' body, he ordered it to be decapitated and the head mounted on a stake, a grim display of victory. Of the 300 Spartans, only one survived, Aristodemus. He had been left behind in a nearby settlement called Alpanoi due to illness. When he returned to Sparta, he was shunned and called Aristodemus the Coward. No one spoke to him. Later, he sought to redeem himself and died heroically at the Battle of Plataea. Despite his cruelty, Xerxes honored his fallen enemies. The Persians buried the Greek warriors on the hill where they made their last stand. Soon after, a monument, a lion statue fitting since Leonidas means like a lion in Greek, was erected over their grave with a beautiful inscription. The fallen Spartans became heroes in their homeland. Even 6 centuries later, their names were remembered and celebrated in Sparta. The Battle of Thermopylae was not a victory for the Greeks in the traditional sense, but it was a triumph of spirit. The 300 Spartans and their allies showed the world that even against impossible odds, courage and unity could inspire generations. Their sacrifice delayed the Persian advance, giving other Greek forces time to prepare for future battles. More than just a fight, Thermopylae became a symbol of standing up for what you believe in, no matter the cost. Their story reminds us that sometimes the greatest victories are not in winning, but in the way we choose to face our challenges.